Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to replace rear brake pads on this 2022 Jeep Gladiator. And we'll be replacing the brakes with none other than the TTX line from Mevotech. Inside the kit, you're going to find a black box that includes, we have covers for our bleeder screws, we get brand new clips, we also get new rubbers, new pins, new bushings, new bleeder screws, and new hardware. They also include brake caliper hangers, a stainless steel brush, and a syringe with synthetic high-performance grease. Besides that, we get to the meat and potatoes here. They give you a nice little brake bed-in guide as well once you get these all installed. But then we get these bad boys. So these are brake pads from the TTX lineup. And was there multiple compounds for these? Okay, so these pads are premium metallic. Now, if you go on TTX's website, go to mevotech.com, they do offer 3 different lines available for this thing. You can get premium metallic, super metallic, or Seraphite. And depending on your driving habits, what you're doing with your vehicle, they got different compounds to get you set up with the right needs. Taking a quick look, you can see we've got built-in squealer tabs, very cool color. This is like a TTX color. All their TTX parts come with this color. And I was actually very surprised. Look how much friction material is on this pad. We've got just over 12 millimeters of friction material. Unreal. So that's pretty much what you're gonna get in the box. Let's rip a wheel off this thing, get into the brakes. You should have 22 millimeter wheel nuts. But in this case, he's got aftermarket wheels, so we've got spline tuner nuts. All right, as you see, we're running some big 35s on this thing, which most Jeep guys are. So when you're running all kinds of weight like that, you need some good brakes to slow you down. So another thing too, we're not gonna be changing out discs today in this video, but most guys, when it's time to change brakes, brake pads, you wanna do pads and rotors together as a set. But in this case, we're just gonna leave these, probably just buff down these little edges here. Don't have any pulsations or anything in these yet, so just gonna leave them. But yeah, first thing we need to do is take the brake caliper off and we're gonna hang it up. But before I do that, I'm just gonna unclip some of these wheel speed sensor clips here just to give us a little bit of movement here. And we're just gonna go ahead and get ourselves, looks like 10 millimeter bolts here to get the caliper off. Okay, so these are, as a matter of fact, 10 millimeter fasteners. So let's just buzz these out of here. All right, just using a pry bar here just to get this caliper off. Back and forth. And we'll use the hooks provided in the kit to hang our brake caliper. Next thing we gotta do is get these brake pads out of here. Now you'll notice if you take a close look at the clip in there, there's actually a tang that springs upwards, and that's going to keep the brake pad from coming out all of the way. So you should be able to sort of coax it to the side, and sounds like I just snapped that spring off of there. It's a good thing that our new kit comes with new hardware. Same with that side, they just broke instantly. Good quality factory hardware. Okay, so we're gonna take the bracket off now so we can take it to the bench and refurbish it. You should have 2 18 millimeter fasteners that you need to take off. All right, let's go to the bench. Okay guys, let's open up the hardware kit here and open up our bag full of clips. So the first thing we want to do, get our bracket set up somewhere in a vise, wherever, somewhere easy to work. But servicing the bracket is a very important part to doing a brake job. If this is your first time doing a brake job, I'm going to show you everything you need to do. For those of you that have done this many times, you can probably just skip. But let's just start by removing these clips. And you can see, I can tell right away, somebody has spray painted this, but I don't know if you can tell in the light, but there's a lot of rust that's built up underneath of there. And that's a big problem with brakes that are in rusty environments. You get a lot of rust that builds up underneath there, and it'll force the clips inwards, and it puts a lot of pressure restricting the brake pad movement. And this keeps the brake pads from springing backwards. So what happens is you're driving down the road, you press the brakes, everything works good. And then when you let off the brakes, the pads don't get away from the disc and they drag. So they prematurely wear out. It induces a lot of heat into the disc, which can cause warping. And it generally just lowers your fuel economy. Maybe not by a noticeable amount, but it will. So we're gonna have to clean these out. And the best way to do that is usually wire wheel on a drill. I know most of you guys aren't gonna have a sandblaster. Sandblaster is ideal, but let's do with what we got. Okay, so this is what you want them to look like. You can see how nice and clean the metal is. Right, you want to make sure you get all the rust off, nice clean surface. Once you get that done, we're gonna pull the pins out and service the slider bores next. Now, I understand most of you may not buy this TTX kit and you might just get brake pads. That's no problem. If you do, you're gonna want to service the existing pins that come in the brackets. Now you can see just from pulling this out, we've got some old lube on there. So we're just gonna give that a wipe off. And another important thing is this surface area in around here that is next exposed to where the rubber seals, we wanna clean that off. Once rust works its way down on the pin underneath of the seal of the rubber, then moisture is allowed into the inner slider pin bore, and rust will start. And the slider pin will eventually seize up and cause your brake pads to wear unevenly. So we're going to take this rubber boot off as well. And once again, on the other end of the boot, where it seals against the anchor, we need to clean that as well. So you could use wire wheel on a bench grinder is the best for slider pins, in my opinion. You obviously take care, wear safety glasses, and make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. And same for this, I'm just gonna use wire wheel on a drill. I feel like that's probably the best way to do it. It's the way I've always been doing it. Okay, so the next thing you're going to want to do is clean out the slider bore. So I usually just shoot some parts cleaner inside of there. And then what I use is a bore brush that goes on the end of a drill. And we're just going to go in here and clean this out. Give it a wash. Basically repeat that step as many times as necessary to clean that bore out. If you have rust that's built up inside of there and it's pretty severe, like your pin was seized or something like that, you may need to go in with a drill bit that's slightly undersized and just run it in and out. You don't want to get to the end and put a lot of pressure because we're not removing material from the bracket. We just want to basically scrape the inside of that to get all of that rust and stuff out of there. But for the most part, stainless steel bore brush works fantastic. And wait for the cleaner to dry out. Maybe hit it with some compressed air. Get that all clean. That pretty much preps up the bore. One thing to note, on the other side of the bracket, this pin has a bushing, okay? And we need to clean and service these pins. If you're reusing them, the lubrication that you're going to use is very important. You don't want to use a petroleum-based product like anti-seize or penetrating oil. That's going to cause that rubber to swell. It's going to restrict the pin inside the bore. Pin's not going to be able to float how it should, and you're going to have uneven brake wear. So what I recommend using is something like this is a synthetic dielectric grease or a silicone-based grease. This is made by CleanFlow. It's called Easy Slide, but there are many different brands that make a silicone-based grease. And that works best for slider pins with rubbers. So not only this rubber here, but the rubber boot as well. Because if you put something on there that's petroleum-based, they will swell, and once the seal is compromised, moisture gets inside, it's game over. Okay, so in this case, we're just going to completely replace all this stuff, and we've got new pins here. So let me just grab a new rubber, new pin. This is a solid pin that's going to be going on this side, and then the one with the bushing is going to be on the other side. So first things first, before I put the rubber boot on here, I'm going to take my solid pin. I'm going to get some of this silicone-based grease, and we're just going to put some on here. We don't want a huge amount on here, just basically coat the surface. Slide it into the bore, give it a spin, in and out a few times, basically coat the inside of that bore. You want that to move nice, no drag, no airlocks on the inside, and that should be pretty well as much as you are going to need. You're going to want to also put some lube in that groove, right where that rubber seals against. That's also going to really help when it comes to keeping moisture out and just prolonging the seal. So then we're going to put a little bit of rubber, or a little bit of silicone on the bracket itself. Same thing, right where the rubber goes. Okay, once you get everything greased up, good to go, we're going to put the rubber on. Now you'll notice that one side it looks different than the other side, so we need to just make sure that the open end portion there is facing outwards, and then this other side that's sort of concaved inwards, it sort of seals up against the inside of that bore. What I like to do is just twist this around a little bit, make sure that that seals nicely, and then slide this in here, make sure that that fits nicely. Give it a little back and forth action. Feels good to me, looks good to me, and we're ready to do the other side. Well, let me lube it up here. That's how it should be. Okay, now that we've got the pins sorted out, the next thing we need to do is install our clips. Now, before I put the clips on, I'm going to paste a little bit of this, it's called honey goo, made by CleanFlow, but some sort of product to keep the rust from just coming right back immediately. This is bare metal that we just cleaned and exposed to the open elements. It's not going to take very long for rust to return. So, is this the right product to use? It's a product I've been using for a long time, haven't had any issues. So myself, I say that it's proven, but I'm sure there's a lot of better products. A lot of guys will use copper anti-seize. Seems to be the weapon of choice. But anyways, the name of the game is get something on there that isn't going to run all over the place. This stuff's pretty tacky, so it's kind of like maple syrup. And then we're just going to take our clips. Now, taking a quick look at these, there is no left and right. They're the same, front and back, left to right. They're all the same, so you don't have to worry about messing them up. Simply just line them up, and you should be able to press them on and feel them seat into place. Take a quick look at them, make sure that they're sitting in there properly and that they're aligned with the slot in here for the disc. Everything looks good, seated properly. Now the bracket's ready to go back on. All right, so we're just gonna simply set this in here and then get our bolts started. And then we'll torque those down. Okay, the caliper anchor bolts, the 18mm ones, are going to be torqued to 92 foot-pounds. And now we can install our brake pads. Okay, so you'll notice that some of the pads, well, all of the pads have squealer tabs riveted to them so that when your brake pad friction material gets low enough, this will rub on the disc and therefore causing a squeal noise to alert the driver, hey, brakes are getting low. I like to position those at the bottom, so find a pair in the box that have two on the bottom. Then you're just going to simply line these up into the holders while simultaneously working around the springs. And then you should just be able to slide it in there, and it should move in there freely, okay? If it's all stiff and it doesn't want to move, there's something wrong. But that's it, we got those in there. Next thing we need to do is push our brake caliper back, retract it all the way so that we can fit it over these super meaty pads. All right guys, so the outside brake pad is going to have 2 nibs on the center, and the inside brake pad is going to have 4 nibs on the outsides, okay? All right, we're going to try this pneumatic press. Slowly pushing the caliper back. And that should be fully compressed. So we're ready to install our brake caliper now. And just make sure that the hose isn't twisted. It's routed the way that it should. And then simply slide the brake caliper on, get our bolts started. In this case, we have fresh replacement bolts that come in the hardware kit on the TTX line brake pads. But for those of you that just bought regular brake pads, no big deal. Throw your bolts back in there. We're going to torque these down to 27 foot-pounds. Okay, once that's complete, the last couple things we need to do, hook the wheel speed sensor harness back to our brake cable or our brake hose. And then I'm pretty much ready to just throw the wheel on. Yeah, throw the wheel on, tighten them down in a 5-star pattern. You're going to torque these to 140 foot-pounds. Do 2 passes of that just to make sure everything's cool. Then after 60 miles or 100 kilometers of driving, you should always do a wheel retorque just to make sure that everything is safe and secure. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, throw them in the comment section below. I'd be glad to try to answer any questions you might have. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to check out these TTX brake pads for your Jeep or any other vehicles, you can go to mevotech.com. If you want to buy parts from them, you need to go to partsavatar.ca if you're in Canada, or you can go to rockauto.com if you're in the United States. If I missed anything, let me know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Here's the bed-in procedure. You can pause the screen and read it for yourself.